Hey, how you doing? This is Steve Sims with another episode of The Art of Making Things Happen, the podcast. But I don't have a guest. It's just me ranting on with something that I've been going through recently, and I've noticed that hopefully it's going to help you. You see, I was given a book called The Expectation Effect by David Robson. Dutch is the co-founder of the bike shed downtown LA, and he gave me this book and said, you may find this a bit interesting to read. And it actually was. It talks about the placebo effect of how our mind believes the positive effect in which it believes. It told a story about the World War II soldiers where they would come off the battlefield all injured and beaten up, and they would need morphine, but by this time they had started to run out. So a lot of the doctors and nurses would actually give them a cocktail of pretty useless shit in there and tell them, hey, this is morphine. And their mind, believing it was, would imitate the effect as if they had actually received it. And they would actually start to go into a morphine-like effect. It also talks about a documented case where a professor at the beginning of the semester actually said to his students, hey, this is going to be the toughest one that you do. And in fact, most of you are going to fail, but don't worry about it. Most people do. You know, it's just something that happens, but, you know, strive on, strive on. And then as the class was being dismissed, he actually took a bunch of them aside and went, hey, what I said about it being tough, it doesn't relate to you. All right, you guys are going to skip through it. You're going to sail through it. You're going to have no problems whatsoever. Come the end of the semester, guess what happened? All those people that he had convinced and told, hey, you're going to have a tough one, predominantly they all failed. All of those people that he told, you're going to just float on through this, they did. And they went on to immense success. So that basically tells you the dominant effects of having the focus on it. Our mind dictates how we react to what we believe. Tell 1,000 people it's a recession, they stop spending, guess what? We fall into a recession. Now, the book also looked at the nocibo effect. Now, this is the negative. This is where it can be very sad. In some situations, deathly. It talks about a culture that actually believed in something called the death bone. And I laugh because, you know, we're not in that world and it can be a little bit humorous to us. But if the death bone was pointed at these people, they believed that their heart would actually start to pulse and they would die in the night. And of course, as this happened, people would literally get scared to death and people would go, it's the death bone. And of course, that culture would then kind of like take grant and it would take foot and people would suddenly start believing that the nocibo effect would come into account and it could hurt you if it got pointed at you. So we know the placebo is the positive and we know that the nocibo is the negative. And why the hell, Steve, are you telling us this? Because how your mind takes the information is being given at the moment is how you are going to react to it. And we're in a political year. So we're going to get bombarded and saturated with misinformation and information that people want us to receive in order for us to make the decision they want us to make on who we allow into government. Now, this happens all over the planet, but add it on to post-COVID, war, trauma, and everything else that's going on. We've got an immense amount of noise that's coming at us. And how you receive it and how you see it will dictate on what you actually do. Now, let me give you an example. If you stick a sponge in a bucket of pure mineral water, instinctively that sponge will just soak it up. There's no other thing for it to do. It will just soak up all that pure water. Now, if you take that same sponge and you throw it in 20-year-old motor oil, then it's going to do the exact same. You see, you're getting a lot of information coming at you. You need to dictate. You need to be in control of what bucket you're actually going to receive this information from. And there is a theory. There is a theory. I think they call it the red car theory. You know, you've been walking through the car park. You haven't seen a lot of cars for a long time. You're seeing these cars and you see this red one. And all of a sudden, when you're driving home, what's the only color car you can see on the road? It's red. You see, your mind's been open to red cars exist. That's what I'm going to see. Now, here's the funny thing. In times of distress, distraction, and noise, successful people tune their mind and their sight to see opportunity. Just like the red car, just like the sponge mopping up pure water, it dictates what it will see, i.e., opportunity. If you make sure you listen to the right podcasts, surround yourself with the right people, saturate yourself in the right environments to challenge you and push yourself, you will actually see that this is a time of opportunity. I don't like it when things are going good. That's like autopilot. You know, everything's okay, everything's good. I like great, and great is something that you need to orchestrate. You need to focus on what you can control. Do not focus on what you can't control. That's only going to get you aggravated and pissed off. But focus on what you can control. And the first thing you can control is how you receive and react to information. That's what I want you to focus on. First thing, and I've said this on many other podcasts before, don't watch the news in the morning. If it's important, you'll get a text, you'll find out about it. But don't focus on the news in the morning. Focus in the opportunity. And get through that day being as positive as and impactful as you actually can. We are going to go into a lot of distraction. We are going to go into a lot of distortion. And we know full well the internet is full of lies. You know, I'm not trying to build up controversy, but no one ever checks it. Okay, the internet is there to make dumb people dumber. It's also there to pass around information. It's also there to help us get more educated. But no one's out there policing the information on there. So just be sharp on what you're willing to consume. Okay, you are, and as Joe Polish says, you're a thoroughbred. You wouldn't feed a thoroughbred McDonald's. So feed yourself with the information for you to be able to take the maximum. And in this world of distortion and distraction, become the opportunity you want to see. All right, it's going to be a fun year. I'm looking forward to it. The old saying that, you know, you make great sailors out of rough seas. We're just about to get into some rough seas. Enjoy it, smile, get comfortable with being uncomfortable, maybe even see you at the next speakeasy in Los Angeles in March as a way of giving you an unfair advantage. But regardless, surround yourself with people that you want to be. This is Steve Sims, the Art of Making Things Happen, and I'll chat with you soon. Next time you'll have a guest. Well, that was another episode of the Art of Making Things Happen podcast with me, your host, Steve Sims. If you like it, you know the scoop. Subscribe, tell your friends, share it around. Let them get benefit from this juice. And of course, if you want to change the room you're in, join Sims Distillery. Jump over to stevedsims.com/Sims Distillery, or you can find a link directly from that website. That's the room where creative disruptors get together to actually help each other become better. If you've got standards or you want higher standards, join the right room. See you next time.